Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Shogun 2 with the Rise of the Empires mod. Last time around we played as the Swedish against the Russians. Today I'm playing as the French against the British, or I guess at this point they would just be the English. They wouldn't be the British Empire as of yet. I am deploying my army. And we just had the first salvo of our guns go off towards the British foot guards. Managed to nick one single guy out of the line there. The British, though, respond with their artillery. Now, I have 3 guns, which are 4-pounders, while the enemy has 2 24-pounder guns. They are already sending their cavalry into an attack. I don't think my lines are ready. 2 of them were. This one's about to fire. It's going to be a fire at point-blank range against the British cavalry, which thunders straight into the line. And here we go, another attack. I do actually like this, because that means they're spending their cavalry strength against targets they shouldn't really be attacking. Head on into the line like this at the start of the match. That's a really bad idea. I'm bringing up my cavalry and telling them to fire at will into the flanks here. One thing that I do have to say about this mod is I'm not a fan of these buttons, because it's not super clear whether or not they are activated or not, because they're the buttons are, or the activation just shows a little bit of yellow glint around an otherwise yellow and red button, so it doesn't become super clear whether or not the ability is actually activated, which I'm not a fan of. Overall, I like the yellow and red, the sort of gold and red. It's just that when it becomes activated, that it's basically looks the same. I don't like that. Wonderful fire there. Perhaps I should actually hold your fire, because you just shot into friendly unit. Let's see if we can't get them to reload, and then we'll do the same on this. Which is good that the British spent all their cavalry. Now, my plan for the battle, and the way that I have deployed it, is that I've played this before, and the British deploy in a single line, like this. And my plan is to allow them to outflank me, but then strike hard in the center and split their army in 2. I think it will probably just take a single unit riding up, firing into the flank to get rid of that cavalry unit. I thought I told these guys to not fire at will. Anyways, the enemy is already... they broke themselves. Right. As they're getting closer here, the 4-pounders should reload and fire quicker. I'm a little bit worried here that they're gonna send in the guns to soak up the volleys of the first lines here. Oh, here comes the cavalry again. He's got no chance, does he? So I'm a little bit worried that they will soak up the fire, and then that the enemy will come close to kill me. This one's coming very close. It's very far ahead of the main line as well. Perhaps he will actually ride straight into me. Right, I made sure that he doesn't get anywhere. Okay, so this unit has started to fire. I guess we're all within range now. I wonder if the British are actually trying to do what I tried to do in the Swedish video, and do sort of the Swedish tactic of the time. I'm a little bit worried here because they're not stopping to return fire. They're going straight for it. Are they planning on charging? I do have the general close by here. I want to keep them off my batteries. Yeah, they struck, and they seem to be striking across the entire line here, except here in the flanks. Which seemed to be sort of working out the way I had planned it. I'm gonna encourage and rally to make sure that we've got that extra to hold out, and then I'm gonna order the batteries here to retreat.
The men are fatigued.
We did a lot of damage at close range volleys on the British. So my plan seemed to be working. Even if they break through the first line here, I've got the second line of guards ready to attack. Looks like it's going... the fighting is a little bit harder over here on the right side. But it looks like my plan is working. They were stalled on this side, and there will not be a charge. Perhaps what I should do then is I should actually remove the grenadiers and have the grenadiers charge here, so I don't waste the guards on that. Looks like we're gonna collapse there, so I'm gonna allow the Swiss Guard to open fire and shoot this Prince George of Denmark regiment into their side and hopefully send them packing, but I'm probably gonna damage my own regiment in the same time. The enemy is putting a lot of pressure on... okay, so we beat all of that. However, they're pushing a lot on the flank there, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this back, allow them to fire at will, and then the front line, the old front line, is now going to move to be the reserves there. So the enemy was broken there. I'll put my troops back on the cannon. There's a lot of retreating troops here. I don't want them to come back. So I'm going to go ahead and send my cavalry out to come around back the enemy. And at this point I figured that actually sending the grenadiers over to the center is actually a mistake. Because the center held, we won here. Perhaps we're lost there, so I'm gonna allow this guard unit to open fire, and I'm gonna allow this guard unit to open fire as well to force the British units that were fighting there. Oh, I guess they went after the cavalry, which saved the line. Or a lot of troops out of it. Right, the British try to force their way through to second line. It's actually the battery. The enemy battery tried to force its way through. It didn't work out for them. Right, my cavalry is turned up. Go ahead and charge after that one. I think perhaps Guard Grenadiers... oh, they got stuck there. That's not good. And now they're tired from riding so much. That was a bad idea to move them that way. I should have moved them behind the line and attacked like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up here on the enemy. And these three units are kind of fine. So I will be moving them towards this side and have them join in that. And what looks to be is the center of the enemy has now completely collapsed. So I will take the guard brigade, march that out and take up position there. The two units that are left here will just be moved to the back and will not bring them into the fight there. General, head over here. Have the cavalry back here. We should see about striking. Right, you should halt and open fire on the enemy. And then we're gonna see about getting these 3 on to the side here and swing in on the enemy. These guys seem to be charging after the cavalry, so I'll bring the cavalry back. It's a complete waste of an attack there. We're not doing so hot right here, but I figure if I can get my grenadiers to go through and strike the enemy here hard, together with a cavalry attack that's going to go in at about the same time, we might just break that. Right, start to run. The entire line coming up behind should start marching forward. You will fire at will. The enemy is now turning to facing the cavalry. The cavalry should attack. And I think we're doing well in striking the enemy in that way. Perhaps it's too much now to actually bring in the guards against this side. Right, so that side we clearly won. Here we're not doing as good. I know that I gave the English or the British or whatever you want to call them really strong infantry units. We have some regiments here that are completely like broken. Even if you're really tired, I need you to push in there to really get at the enemy. And you need to be deployed. Right, we won that fight. Probably at a heavy cost to my cavalry. But ultimately, I think it was worth it. The line will now be moving that way. The guard brigade will be moving that way. The remnants of the grenadiers will charge in together with the cavalry and kill off that one unit. My batteries should be holding fire at this point. Right, so we broke that one. This one's not far for the for this world. And as that breaks, we'll be able to push more and more men onto this. Although the cavalry are slightly back. The general will turn up here. These will gain some ground on the enemy. Hold. Can you actually fire? That's like suppression shot. And then we continue forward here. Making sure that all these troops are at fire at will. You could probably come up a little bit. And then these 3 here. These 2 right behind there. And then you can march up just to stand behind in support. Right, the enemy is really tired. I'll move the cavalry into a flank position. Ready to strike, and soon enough, I'm sure there's like one of these that emit like a guard bonus to the rest of the troops, and that's why they're holding on. Oh, there's a grenadier unit in among all of that. If the grenadier unit could be broken, then I'm sure that the British would break. So this regiment just broke, means that we've got just these guys left. I'm gonna make a tighter charge this time around as my cavalry goes in. So I'm hoping here that we will shoot at a decent pace. I was hoping they would be firing on the move. Unfortunately, they did not. I'm gonna send the general out to go ahead and support. A just through cavalry charge. I don't think we will break them. But perhaps with some inspiring abilities and the general actually firing at will at close range.
The men are fatigued, sir, and must rest awhile.
We might just have enough to break them. So there's only 2 units left. Any second now. A little bit of a shock there as the general goes in. And there, we have won the battle. All the units should hold fire. And I am victorious. And my English enemy is scattered to the wind.
job done.
And here we can see the result of the battle. The battle duration was around 16 minutes. Yeah, it was 16 minutes. And we deployed about 8,000 men compared to 7,000 of the enemy. The reason why the enemy is deploying a little bit less troops than us is my guard brigade was made up of actual guard regiments, while for the British side, or the English side, you can only have one guard regiment. So I gave them a load of grenadiers instead to make up for that. Because they were attacking, so I'd figure that an attacking army needs a lot of strong melee troops. Turned out though that they didn't really deploy them in the right way, and we crushed them. I ended up losing 2,200 men, which is still quite a lot, given the circumstances. However, the enemy lost 5,000, so they are only left with about 2,000, while I would be left with, what, 6,000 men. In terms of friendly fires, they are very low. There's about 80 friendly fires on my side, while there's less than, what, 40 for the enemy. When we go into individual statistics, we'll find that my cavalry did a lot. The two cavalry units that survived, or the ones on the right, did a lot. 600 kills for one, and then the Grenadiers of Cheval managed to get 344. Next up, it's line infantry. So we've got a line infantry unit that lost about half its unit, but killed about every man in the regiment killed at least one enemy, roughly. And then we go through. I want to see the cannons. Here's one of my grenadiers, actually, that only lost 10 men and killed 150. So the grenadier charge seemed to have gone really well over there. Unfortunately, the cavalry had to pay a high price for it, having those cavalry units completely destroyed almost. But it seemed to have worked out for the Grenadiers, because they got to charge into the enemy right in their back. And 10, given that they charged into such a mass of British infantry. I keep saying British or English, but you get what I mean, right? Only 10 men lost in killing 150. I wonder, here's another Grenadier. Lost 4, killed 98. Here's another one, lost 80, killed 40. And wait, where's the fourth one? So there's this one. Oh, so it seems like most of the Grenadiers fighting was done by a single regiment, more or less. Because this one killed only 17, and that's 140. And this one 98, so seemingly 2 Grenadier units would have sufficed actually to charge across. I wouldn't have needed any more. The cannons didn't do too much, but I think partly is due to the cannon animation that's in the mod. First of all, it's kind of wrongly timed, because the officer is timed slightly off to the rest of the crew. You'll see the officer light the gun and like fire it, and he'll put his head away and put his hands over his ears like the gun fires, and then he'll go back to normal. And then the other 4 crewmen then have loaded the cannon, then they turn away and the gun fires. And I think partly that is why the guns, like the whole process of like firing the guns and so on, is completely out of step. It looks cool, I say it would look cooler if they all would be timed together. But I think it might be too much. In terms of the enemy, though, let's see what they did. So Prince George of Denmark's regiment was one that we saw hold out for a long time. Now, the British, of course, are going to suffer a lot more casualties than we are, because we were able to ride them down as they retreated. I had a few regiments that broke, and the enemy weren't able to follow after them. Actually, who on my side lost the most? So, okay, perhaps I spoke too soon. We have 2 regiments here. This must be, I'm pretty sure this is the center brigade. The Regiment de Médoc. Yeah, it's probably not how you pronounce it. But you can see heavy casualties on those regiments. And I think that is the center regiments. So they held out for a large part of why they have so high casualties is not because the enemy pursued and killed them. It's they held the line for so long that they suffered so heavy casualties. Back to the kills, though, as I want to see what the British did. I noticed there 1 cannon didn't get a single kill, but that's because the AI was stupid with the cannons. They couldn't really figure it out, and they rolled them right into my line. But we find the 1st Foot Guards, the only guard unit the British were allowed to have, through their roster, is right here. And then I think the Grenadiers did not pay off for the British, because they didn't use them in bayonets attacks. They used them to exchange fire with us, and I do think the Grenadiers have a lower accuracy than normal troops. So yeah, we can see it, quite a lot of these Grenadiers end up in the bottom here, together with cannons and the enemy cavalry, which they threw away. But there we have it. So, haven't been able to get a multiplayer against another player going yet, but hopefully that will come. So, right here at the end, I will say, like I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!